Oh, shit. Here we go again.
You got Brent, you got Joshy here for your round 13 review, round 14 preview. Joshy, how'd you go last week, bud?
Yeah, a bit of a tough week last week, buddy. Only 962, so failed to crack the ton, which sort of hurt. We do have Bogan in the background, and as he so kindly pointed out about 5 minutes ago, I've only just beat my bye round score last week. Obviously, 17 players this week compared to 13 or the week before. So the hard luck stories for me weren't really what everyone else had with blokes like Gutho and Dearden and those 0-pointers. I just had so many blokes score under 40. So made a good move bringing in Bronson Jerry last week, so he sort of saved my week somewhat. I dropped around about 1,200 spots, so I'm down to about 4,000, 4,500 now. How about yourself?
Yeah, 992. Good to bounce back after the bye debacle last week. I did have Gutho, also went a bit of a pod captain in Turbo, brought Turbo in this week, tried to go something a bit different, especially once Gutho copped the 0, so that was good. And Lolo ended up getting near 100, so could have, should have been, but didn't play Jerry. Quite busy over the weekend, mate. We didn't get to watch a lot of footy, and I wasn't too sure how this score would rack up, but I dropped about 600 spots, which puts me around, I think, 7,000 overall. Can't really complain given I had a 0 scorer.
Mate, as you say, we sort of had a busy weekend down in Canberra, and everything sort of started with Origin last week and Queensland getting up over the Blues, which was an absolute cracker of a match. Obviously not the way we wanted to see the result go, but no doubt a fantastic result for Queenslanders. But, mate, I really started the week off bad. Last week, reversed trades that many times and sort of played around with different teams. I think you'll see later in the show, obviously, I had 5 different trades I was playing around with last week. Made the rookie error of reversing trades just before kickoff, knowing that I'd have players later in the week that I wanted to trade in. And unfortunately, it meant I had Hudson Young play in, I think, the second game of the night with the Raiders. Unfortunately, I got an AE there. For the week, it ended up being Tom Flegler. I think he scored about 29. I had every intention of trading Hudson Young to Andrew Fafita last week, so that would have made a little bit of difference to the score. I probably would have cracked over that 1,000 mark, but wasn't to be. A rookie error, one that I just seem to make all the time, actually. I think if I went along with how I've normally always played the game, and that's just make the trades and sort of forget about them, I think I've tried to become too professional, a little bit too cute with SuperCoach and try to trade right up until game kickoff throughout the weekends.
Yeah, well, Big Fifi went off too, so that stings a little bit.
Yeah, mate, he scored a nice try and another good performance from Cronulla. We've seen the BJ and GameDay League get a little bit tighter as well, so some good things over the weekend there, but some sort of poor scores across the park, which sort of hurt. A lot of guys didn't back up from Origin. Ones that we did see back up didn't score well. Your Damien Cooks, your Cam Murrays, those kind of guys really struggled. Kalen Ponga wasn't sided over the weekend. They've decided to rest him. What are your thoughts over the weekend? Obviously, from a Kalen Ponga point of view, it didn't matter for your guys in the end. You still got the victory.
Yeah, mate, a bit disappointing for that one because, given the form we had and even the form of South, that one was shaping up to be an absolute blockbuster. But given the scheduling, 2 days after Origin and a number of Origin players both sides have, obviously South's a little bit more affected. The fatigue from those guys that would have played in that game, backing up a couple of days later, you look at Cookie, you look at Murray, we're nowhere near as effective. Kind of did put a bit of a dull over the game, but obviously stoked for our boys. Really good performance from Mitchell Pearce once again. I was a bit worried, missing Ponga. He's the spark at the back, and obviously with Clem getting ruled out with a broken wrist and will now miss 4 to 6 weeks, I thought, we'd do it really tough, and I still thought there was enough firepower there for South that we would struggle, but that was one of the games I did get to watch over the weekend quite closely, and just stoked for the boys. Just a really good, tough performance, and 6 on the trot, and winning's a habit, and it's bloody unheard of for a Newcastle fan to be going through something like this at the moment. So,
mate, doing
really
very
pleased.
well. Very well. And SuperCoach Fortune Teller last week, mate. Now, obviously, we looked at that over the week. We sort of had our picks, but we never really came up with a sort of punishment. Even over the weekend, spending the weekend down there in Canberra playing a bit of pool, we never really came up with anything. So, as you can see there from the results, Jared Croker got up with the redemption arc, and unfortunately I went none from 3. Now, we didn't really keep track of our wild and wacky. I just know that the 3 blokes I picked to go well in the wild and wacky, one of them was Bailey Simonson, and he didn't score the top for Canberra. So I know that one's gone down. Whether, mate, yours got up, I can't remember what you picked, to be honest.
Mine didn't get up. It was the New South Wales players playing Origin that would back up. That round would outscore all the Queensland players that played Origin that backed up. Half the friggin' New South Wales team didn't back up. So not half, but yeah, it wasn't to be for New South Wales, unfortunately, on that one. So we lost both.
So, mate, look, I've got my own little chili challenge here. We'll update people, obviously, a little bit later in the show. We've already got an idea for once for this week's challenge. So that'll be a little bit interesting. I've still got the chips to do, guys. Jumped online today and actually found out where I order them from. I was hoping I could get to somewhere locally from a shop, but wasn't to be. So jumped online. I've ordered a set of those, and they should be here next week. And a little bit interesting with next week's challenge because it'll be good to mix a little bit of hot and cold, and you'll see that later in the show. But for now, look, I got the missus to get these couple of chilies. They're not the smallest, which means they're probably not the hottest. Couple of chili. I think they're just from the IGA or from Woolies or something like that. But yeah, I'm not the best with hot, but I reckon they're not too hot anyway. So bit of a cop out this one. We'll see how we go.
Bottoms up.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Oh, fuck. All right. Okay. Not a lie. They're a little bit kicked there.
Size might be deceiving. That's it, mate. Get it in there. Good start. If these things are warm, you've done yourself a bit of a disservice there. Hey, hang on. What's Fortune Teller coming out?
That no milk was for the chips.
Holy
voice
dooly.
burner.
Is it hot? Nice. I'm liking it.
Fuck. The lips are on fire. Fuck. Let's go, yeah.
All right, let's put him through it. Another 5 minutes, he'll be flying. Obviously, as we touched on just a little bit earlier, South Sydney took on Newcastle on the Friday, just a couple of days after the Origin. A few guys backing up, took a little bit away from that game. Newcastle coming out winners in a really good game of footy for our guys. Connor Watson, top scorer for Newcastle, had a blinder, started the game at hooker with 91 points. And Johnny Sutton top scored for the Bunnies with James Roberts on 58. Pretty low scoring there from the Bunnies. Obviously, yeah, that game really affected by Origin, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, that could be a big match-up again, potentially later in the year. Moving on, the second game on I think it was the one game on the Friday night? No, the second game on the Friday night was the Tigers taking on Canberra at Bankwest Stadium. And it was Canberra that just showed that they are going to be really impressive. Well, they're probably going to be up there in terms of putting some claims in for the premiership this year. They were completely dominant. The third side they've held to 0 this year, and I guess their defence is probably the most impressive part. Jared Craker top scored for the Raiders, bouncing back with 87. Johnny Bateman not far behind him with an unreal performance with 81 points there, and Maddo was huge in a side that scored 0. He scored 78 points. And yeah, some just awesome footy from the Raiders. One of the tries that Rapana scored was a miracle. Caesar went through, put it on the toe, then Kotrick sort of did a little soccer flick and Rapana dived on it. So yeah, Raiders looking really good this year, and good to see the boys doing well from my hometown, from our hometown, Joshy. But yeah, really, really good performance from the Raiders. Just while Joshy's still coming good a bit there. On the Saturday, the first game was Warriors taking on the Storm. Now, I'm pretty sure the Storm were down at half-time going into this game, if I'm not mistaken. Or they were down 10-2, so they've come out and absolutely blitzed them in the second half. Obviously, we didn't get to catch all of it, but Cam Smith would have been instrumental in that, and Jerome Hughes also did score a double. I think he scored a double, did he, Jerome Hughes, and scored 114. So, yeah, he's going to be one of those perennial score big and score low.
I think Bogan,
not really going to be able to pick the weeks.
Oh, got rid of Jerome Hughes. Starts to go large. Unlucky.
The Warriors, it was Kenny Marmelow, top scorer was 74. So he's been not bad this season, old Kenny Marmelow. So yeah, but another really dominant performance from the Storm. Well, he's better than Dave Fusitu'a.
Kenny Marmelow. Yeah, I think Fusitu'a really has. I think if there was any player in that team that's sort of been affected by the loss of Sean Johnson, it's Fusitu'a. The amount of plays he was on the end of, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but Marmelow has definitely come on strong.
And the second game on Saturday, your boys flexing their premiership muscle. Running out big winners over Para.
Absolute cracker of a game, this one. I think I saw about 8 minutes of it, but that was enough. We're up about 38-6, and then Para scored 2 or 3 tries. But look, a cracking game from Wade Graham on return. You won't see him there on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, he didn't score. I think he scored about 55 or 60 points in Supercoach. Was downgraded by about 15 points. But big story out of that one with Bronson Jerry, Andrew Fafita. Both having massive games. But the King Gutho, mate, knocked out after the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was a stinker.
Knocked out by Josh Dugan, mind you. So I'm starting to question Gutho's toughness. If Dugan can knock someone else out rather than himself, there's something going on with the world. It's wrong.
Yeah, how does a glass man knock out anyone?
Mate, exactly right. Exactly right. Marcus Evo, mate. Let's just have a chat about him. He obviously continues to perform, continues to score tries. Mind you, that 66 points was a double, so I think owners can feel a little bit fortunate. I did trade him out last week for Jerry, so from a net points point of view, I got a little bit of a benefit there. Mate, he's got to be a sell, doesn't he? Coming up to buy around when he doesn't play, the amount of money he's at.
Oh, I think the really interesting about this season is there's a few of these guys that were cheapies to start the year that, if by round 13 these guys are still averaging nearly 60 points, surely there's some merit in the thought of them being keepers. I guess for me it was the fact that I didn't care that I got him at a rookie price. I upgraded him to a premium. I ended up going him to turbo. But guys like Nickel Clockstad, Jerry now, even, depending on how Zach Lomax goes now, depending on how he's finding a bit of form now, he's playing a bit more regular first grade.
Look at players like Kickout last year,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Sivo's not a keeper in the centre wings, who is? It's an interesting one. I'm just happy to trade him, like you said, he won't play 16. And he was he'd made, nearly 400K, well, not quite 400K, but, he's earned himself a lot of money, done the job. But I think he could be one of those guys towards the back end of the year for those people that just hold on him. He could sting you in some head-to-heads, depending on how you go. Because Para do have a really soft run home. It's just whether they're actually playing good enough footy to give it a shake-up. They might be out of it by then. That's the only concern.
No, very true, mate. Very true. The last game on the Saturday night, mate, was Manly Seagulls getting up over the Cowboys. Bit of a tight one, this. As you say, Turbo came back, didn't set the world on fire. Had an okay game. Gerbo backed up from Origin. Marty Tapau had a good game, as you can see there. But Jason Taumalolo, mate, just continues to come on in leaps and bounds. Whether they're unicorn points, I'm not too sure, but it's basically all base, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I haven't got my laptop in front of me this week. I'm assuming he's played some inflated minutes again. He played 80 last week. I can only imagine that these big inflated scores in base, the fact that he's now playing a little bit more than the 60 minutes that he's generally played in the past. And if that's the case, he's probably a set and forget, just given the fact that he's going to get at least 80 points in base if he's playing 70-plus minutes. It's just the type of player he is. He's too much of a handful, breaking tackles and offloads, and he's got such a high work rate that this could be a regular score for him.
I think
Turbo,
the one thing to look at. Disappointing,
Turbo, mate. Yeah, he had a couple try assists, I think. It was just these errors that let him down. I was talking to Kane Anderson over the weekend. Once, you heard I was bringing in Turbo, we had a bit of a chat and he was giving me a bit of an update. Apparently he had about 5 errors, so that sort of thing hurts, There's 10 points right there. He scores 70 plus. Not a huge difference, but when you have the captain on him, it makes a little bit of a difference. But, he's got a big break even this week, so that'll be interesting.
Who got up in the head-to-head between you two?
Well, I'm assuming he did.
Don't know.
No idea. I'm assuming he would have had the wood on me. I'm pretty sure he got over me.
Kano, if you got him, give him a spray in the YouTube comments, mate. First game on the Sunday there, mate. All Queensland affair here, and the Titans, look, they just dominated early. 18-6, I think it was at halftime, and just went on to comfortably win. I don't think the Broncos really ever got too close to them. And this is just sort of a typical performance from the Titans. We see it, week in, week out, where you sort of expect them to go on the park and lose, and they turn up. They've really, really sort of well-coached side, mate. Unfortunately for you, Bryce Cartwright, who you had at the number 6, was out. You were forced to take an AE, mate.
Yeah, I made the decision. I did look at trading him this week anyway, but I was thinking, I looked at guys like Hughes and, again, I think Corey Norman, I think I looked at on the Sunday because there wasn't much left after that. But, decided against it. I think I'll end up going to SJ when the time is right. So I didn't bother because I figure it's just about $100,000 upgrade if that. Once SJ is back and probably plays the game. But, this one was quite interesting. Obviously, I didn't get to catch any of this, mate. As you're aware, I was playing a bit of pool at this point, so I wasn't aware. But, Tony Staggs scored a try, scored his 60 points, but I didn't bring him in this week. I stayed with Arthurs, who did the same thing, so I think he's going to be about an equivalent there. But, pretty interesting. I think the Titans, they're just such a dangerous side, especially.
But Sunday afternoon game, we'll switch to that one, Bogan. And who do we have on the Sunday Arvo? Oh, look, this was... I got to watch this in glimpses. I just thought this was a really, really average game. I'm not too sure. The Roosters, look, obviously they had Angus Crichton out, but Tedesco was backing up. Cordner was backing up.
No Mitchell.
Manu got sin bin, I think, partway through this. No Mitchell. So, look, there were some excuses there, but I think when you're the reigning premiers, I think you should be able to sort of put away a Penrith team that's playing like this. Obviously, for owners, mate, you're a little bit dirty at this score by Viliami Kikau, 111 points. You got rid of him last week, mate?
Yeah, I guess the most annoying thing is I had him for a pod for about a month, even just leading into the bye round. He did absolutely nothing. Essentially, he scored 70 points where he got some junk time points with a try right on full time from dummy half. But, didn't look like doing anything like this, which is, he's capable of. But then to come out the week after the bye round where he got ruled out, the fucker, and score a double against the defending premiers and ton up makes me absolutely sick. I just want to smash him in that fat nose.
Mate, very, very, very valid point. Mate, I think a lot of people be dirty.
It's just summing up my season, that sort of thing. A couple of those pods like him and Crichton just aren't firing. I'm going to trade Crichton this week, so put captain on him if you got him. He's guaranteed to score a triple.
And a bit of a bounce back from Jimmy Maloney. Obviously, talk around the Blues squad, as there always is with Origin time and whether Freddie's picked the right team. Look, obviously, I think it's always a little bit unfair the way New South Wales go about this. I mean, at the end of the day, you've picked the team in game one. I reckon you should stick through it with game three. You've had the faith then, have the faith the whole way through. Blokes like your Cody Walkers and that, they can learn from that. So I'm not a fan of hearing that Maloney might be back.
At the end of the day, mate, just touching on that, we've gone up to Queensland game one. Yes, we might have been favourites with the bookies, but, Queensland are always the underdogs. They've been underdogs when they won 13, 8 in a row or whatever it was. But, we lost by 4 points in the end. We had a guy, Cody Walker, who didn't really get too involved in the game. Latrell Mitchell was virtually unsighted. We did have a blinder of a first half, but we lost by 4 points. We had a guy
We went up there 10 days ago.
And then,
you flew up there 10 days ago with obviously Stevie Woods to play a big money match at pool. And we were in a room where there was probably about 50 blokes who were, cheering for the other fella. And we had 3 or 4 of us cheering for Woodsy. And, mate, it just goes to show you how much that crowd can really, really sway something, because I think we saw it there. And even something that small with a crowd that small, Barney obviously made that big comeback, and Queensland were the same. Look, they've got at Suncorp Stadium 45,000 people behind them, and it is a massive stadium for a crowd. Like the stadium and the design there is just absolutely sensational. One of the boys from Canberra, he actually went to the game, and he just said he'd seen nothing like it. So, mate, you can imagine how that crowd would have helped them.
Yeah, and I think we, a few tactical errors with some of the stuff there with. Probably down a big man off the bench. We've hooked Walker at one point. There was a culmination of a few things, and we lost to Queensland by 4 points in game one up in Queensland. If that's it, it's not like we got touched up by 20 points or something like that. So bring on game two, and I still don't really know. I think we just got down enthused in that second 40, especially at the start there. Credit to Queensland. Like I said, they played well and they deserve it. But bring on games 2 and 3.
Mate, definitely. Monday afternoon, mate, finished out the round. The St. George Dragons gave the Bulldogs another hiding. The Bulldogs are definitely getting anchored towards that bottom of the table. Not too much to write home about at the moment for the Bulldogs, but Michaeli Ravalawa scored a double, set up another one, 114 points, massive effort from him. Benny Hunt had a good game there with 101 points, bouncing back from Origin. Kieran Foran, mate, obviously from the Dogs. Not sort of one, obviously with how injury prone he's been in years past, probably not one you'd really look at, but the times he's actually been on the field this year, he's actually scored pretty well.
Yeah, he has been. He has been well. I guess it's a shining light in an absolute stinker of a Bulldogs side. He's looked probably the best he has for a while. If he can stay sort of injury-free for a while, get a few games under his belt, it'll be good to see him bounce back. He's had a tough few years, old Foz. But the Dragons, they're just capable of this, aren't they? Every now and then they can just trounce a team, and Supercoach-wise, their players can be really prosperous. They've got some good attacking players. There's a lot of guys there on that screen. The top 5 players all scored 80+, a couple of tons. So, yeah, when they get it right, they are really dangerous, the old Dragons, but you can't bank on them.
Nah, mate, they'll follow up those 80s with sub-30s next week. So
yeah,
I think that's one of the biggest things I look for in Supercoach is that consistency. I think obviously it's always nice to see players who can ton up, but if you can avoid those 10s and 20s, I reckon that's the key to being further up the ladder. But so obviously a good week there in footy scores, and Supercoach a little bit average. Hopefully we can improve this week. We've got the matchups here for the week coming up. And as you can see there, opening the game now Thursday night, absolute cracker. My boys going down to Canberra, GIO Stadium, to play the in-form Raiders. Obviously, nice bounce back for them with a 28-0 win over the West Tigers after a few losses. So they would have been nice to get back in the winners column. And I think, look, mate, I said it to you over the weekend. I think Cronulla with a healthy side on the park, I really reckon we win the premiership. And obviously the there's massive bias behind that comment. But I've put my money where my mouth is as well. I've got a little bit on them to win the premiership, to win a tidy amount. So, mate, I reckon once SJ's back, Wade Graham looked awesome on the weekend. I reckon this will be a cracker of a match Thursday night.
Yeah, I think potentially game of the round, apart from maybe even my boys going to Melbourne, even though we're ranked outsiders. This one's definitely got to be match of the round.
Yep. Obviously, Titans gone play the Warriors, and hopefully, mate, I need to see RTS bounce back. He's had a few very, very average weeks. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. Obviously, Titans played well against the Broncos. And again, you look at the odds here, and the fact that Gold Coast at home can be outsiders after they've just beat the Broncos the way they did, and the Warriors are in the form they are, you just see it week in, week out. The Titans are just massive odds compared to what they probably should be based on form.
Yeah, you just can't pick them, but I reckon they've been a bit more consistent this year at times. So, I think there's a bit of value there for the Titans for sure.
And mate, as you say, Saturday Arvo, 3 p.m. game there. Your boys going down to Melbourne to play that. This should be an absolute cracker. I love that it's a day match. I'm hoping, obviously, Kalen Ponga can bounce back after the week off. And yeah, mate, I reckon at the $3.20 mark, or if those are the odds that the Knights are, definitely worth a sneaky lobster, maybe, mate, just to pick up a bit of weekend drinking money.
Yeah, a bit disappointing Big Clem missing. He's obviously a leader at the front for us there, but Big Dan Safidi was absolutely huge against South, took on all the Burgess boys, and actually spent a bit of time in the bin as well, but he went after him. And if he can stand up and lead...
that, mate.
Yeah.
Let's just recap that. Now, look, I still haven't seen the incident. I was flying down to Canberra at the time and sort of in and out of flights and buses and things like that. 4 blokes in the bin. I did see probably about 10 minutes before it happened a little bit of argy-bargy. It was about a minute before half-time, mate. What happened?
Yeah, I think it was tempers were starting to flare a bit, and it was always, and you know what Sammy Burgess is always like, and basically I think it was, I don't know if it was Tom or George Burgess, but something's happened in the play of the ball. Basically, he's given a little bit of a headbutt to Dan Safidi, and Safidi's just let him go. And from there, as you can expect, once one Burgess boy's in, one Burgess in, all Burgess is in. And, the next thing you see, whatever Burgess twin it was going off with Safidi. And the next sort of vision you get is Sam and Lachlan Fitzgibbon, and Sam's giving him a few headbutts. And, as a result...
Did anyone connect?
I don't think so. I think the big boys missed a few at the start. I don't think there was any good shots landed. That's pretty standard to be fair. I still don't know how Lachlan Fitzgibbon got binned. Fitzgibbon did not do anything. I still don't understand how he got binned. But anyway, 4 men binned all at once. Yeah, I think they just levelled it to be a bit less controversial. You can't have 12 on 11. But we had 11 each for a while there, which is quite interesting, and we actually took advantage during that period, which is good. But that was quite an interesting little thing. I don't think I've actually ever seen that myself before watching a game, so that was quite funny. But boys getting into it, which is always good to see every now and then. I think funny. And then to round out the round, mate. Big Sammy knowing he was going to miss 4 to 6, didn't really care at the end of the day. I'm surprised he didn't let a few go as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. To round out the round, mate, we've got the Roosters up against the Doggies in what could be a cricket score. Look, if anything's to go by last week, I think we're probably going to see, obviously, Latrell back. And who else did we miss out there last week?
Crichton back,
Crichton, obviously, coming back. So, look, they could put 40 or 50 on. They're actually due for a big game, I think, the Roosters. Last week, they were pretty average against the Panthers. Obviously, still no Kiri, which sort of hurts. But I was sort of impressed with that Drew Hutchison. He wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I think he's. I don't know if he might have debuted before. Like he's already debuted, but he's a big half. And I like the look of him. He's not afraid to take the line on, and if he's in the Roosters system, he's probably not doing too bad anyway. But yeah, I think the interesting one with this one, Josh, is there's been a bit of conjecture, a bit of mail around that whether Teddy's going to be rested. He has been named, but I'd just be a little bit weary of team lists. I'm not sure where that mail's come from, but I've heard it on a couple of different places that there's a chance that he could be rested. But yeah, I'll just be having a close look at team lists.
A little bit of a tough one with it being the last game of the round as well. Obviously, you'd want to hold out as long as possible, but definitely have him on that reserve. Obviously, if you're running two gun fullbacks, probably be starting with either RTS or Ponga, or depending on who you got at the back, maybe Turbo over Teddy, just so that he can swing that reserve ticket around if he doesn't start that 4 o'clock game.
Well, it is a stinker because you're unlikely to probably have any Doggies players that you're going to have sitting on your bench, or any Roosters players as well that you're just going to be able to go to. So, unless you decide to bring in a Hutchison or something like that. So it is a bit of a stinker.
A little bit of talk around Takiaho, people bringing him in for the bye round now that he's in a little bit of form. I'd probably say steer clear. He's one I've had in past seasons not for entire seasons, but for weeks at a time and things like that. That just can never seem to grab him at the right time. I think there's just a little bit too much inconsistency there with him. But, maybe watch this space with that one.
I think the upside for him will be 16, where I have probably Corden and no Crichton in that Roosters pack, and it might be a good buy there. But, yeah, I'm probably going to stay off him. But he's definitely a possible buy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What do we got after this, Bogan? All right, so let's just go straight to the trades. Run the intro.
Change places! Change places!
All right. Hampton, this week, mate. Oh, this was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, So this one here, I was not sure if Cookie was going to back up. So if Cookie didn't back up, I wouldn't have had a hooker because I had Hodgson out. So I would have gone Cam McInnes or Cam Smith. As it turned out, Cookie did back up. And
had a cracker of a game.
Yeah, had a blinder, didn't he? Cam Smith had a high break even, and I think Cam McInnes was the pod option. Once I realised he was in, I was happy to hold up on that one. And then, made a decision that I'd actually end up using just the one trade. I had enough money in the bank that I just ended up going make a Sevo to Tommy Turbo. So could have pulled the trigger on Cardi, so none of these trades.
I just want to reflect, mate. I just want to reflect a little bit earlier in the season. Now, Big Ted, loyal follower, smashing bloke, actually made comment, I think it was on one of our social media pages, YouTube or Facebook or something, that he was going to do a Brent and change up his trades. Mate, you were ribbing me earlier in this season. You were giving it to me that I was doing this. Hey, you're changing trades every week now. People got no idea what you're doing.
No, not a chance, mate. It's all about the context. You can't remember 2 days ago, let alone what we talked about last week, let alone your friggin' crystal ball each week. You forget by the bloody weekend, mate. Look, it's all about the context, mate. If I don't make one of these trades and it impacts on the other one, bloody hell.
Fuck. It is tough doing it on a Tuesday when teams have just come out too. So,
well, I haven't seen all the team lists either. But yeah, fair call.
You only did one trade last week, mate.
Yeah, just the one. Obviously, I think I needed to probably trade as much as I could for round 16, but I'm not really at that point now. I'm just going to start gearing up for that. What's my ideal 17 for the run home? Largely, there will be a couple of trades that will come for 16 coverage, but main focus is what am I looking for the run home now.
Yep. No, fair enough, mate. What about this week, bud?
This week, so I'm pulling that trigger. I am going Hodgson to Smith. That is confirmed. That will be happening. I think Cam Smith's going to be in my 17 for the run home. He's looking really dangerous. Obviously, we'll play 16. I think most people probably might have him by that point anyway, or maybe not. If not, happy for him to be a pod of mine. In Crichton, I guess at the end of the day, he hasn't eventuated to what I thought he might have been. And, yeah, there's a lot of conjecture around him at the Chooks at the moment, and I can't see him being in my final 17 for the run home. So I've gone 2 Stags. I was going to go Stags last week. It leaves me a little bit of cash in the bank for a few more trades as we head into the Super bye week next week as well. So, yeah, that'll be the trades that go on this week, mate. Yourself?
Fair enough. My trades last week, mate, obviously you'll see the 5 of them come up on the screen here. I did go 2 of these trades. I went Bronson Jerry in, and I went Ewan Aitken in, and I got rid of Sivo and some other bloke. Who do I get rid of?
Having a go at me.
Get rid of one of
have a go at you. You got 30,000 blokes up on the screen. You still can't even remember who you traded.
I can't remember. I don't think I traded out Alan because I had him as an AE for part. I don't know. I traded out some.
2 centres, or was it a forward and you swapped someone dual around? Or?
No, got no idea.
No,
anyway,
got nothing.
Jerry
have a go at you.
Academy.
Have a fucking go at you. You can't remember what the fuck you did last week.
Fuck. Mate, too many chilies lately. It's just gotten in my brain.
How'd they go?
Bronson Jerry, massive score. Look, this guy, I just couldn't find a chance to get him in earlier in the season because he didn't play 13. That was the biggest thing for me. At the time, when he sort of emerged onto the scene, I wasn't completely confident. After 1 or 2 games, I knew exactly what to expect. And once there was started, obviously, talk around that they were going to move around the rest of the Sharks team to accommodate keeping him in, that was sort of what I wanted to be on. And now that he's going to play 16, massive fan of this kid. And what he did last week was huge. The fact that he can do this without SJ and on the left or the right side, I think is absolutely massive.
That was something I was going to raise, mate. They've thrown him on the left-hand side last week. It's probably his natural position. He's got a big left foot step, so he comes sort of cuts in now. Where do you think he ends up playing? I mean, Supercoach-wise, you're probably preferring to play on the right once SJ's back, and they've got Nakura out there and whatnot, but it looks like maybe he's going to...
From a Supercoach point of view, mate, I don't really think it matters, to be honest. I think... with the Cronulla team, look, if he's going to play on a wing, I want it to be on Dugan's side. I think Joshy Morris doesn't have the creativity in him. Look, Dugan by no means is a ball-playing, backline player, but I just think Morris is less so. So, look, if he's going to play on the wing, I want it to be on Dugan's side. If he's going to play in the centres and move Dugan to a wing, it doesn't really bother me whether it's left or right. Look, obviously you saw Josh Morris play right side centre for the Blues, played quite well. And we've seen him play for the season left side centre, so for Cronulla. So, look, I'm not really annoyed, perturbed, whatever about whichever side it is. I just think he's got to be in there somewhere and he'll make his own luck. And the other trade was obviously Ewan Aitken in, scored, I think, 60-odd points or something like that. So exactly sort of what I was hoping from Aitken. As you say, it wasn't a big scorer in Dragons outfit, which is a little bit of a concern. He didn't manage to get us across the stripe himself, but he's proven in seasons gone past that he's definitely one you can rely on. And at 280K or whatever he was last week, I think he's still not too much more. I think he's about 290 now. So still plenty of chance for people to get on him to earn some money. If he can average that 60 over the next 4 or 5 weeks, there'll be some good price rises in him. This week's trades for me, definitely bringing in Fafita. Look, I got rid of him, I think, a few weeks ago now and definitely regret the situation. Aiden Tolman, look, he's done his job for me this season. Hasn't made a stack of money, but has been ever Mr. Consistent. Played a little bit down in minutes. I think he just might be getting a little bit tired towards this time of the season. So I'm going to bring in Fafita. I think the fact that Cronulla are trending upwards is massive there. I'm a little bit worried that Fafita's had a couple of good games in a row and the next score might be a 40-odd. So that is in the back of my mind. But we'll see how that goes. Now, the other one there I've got is Hudson Young to Ryan Madison. What I may also do is I may leave this one out I may not go Madison until round 16, purely because with the form of the Blues and the fact that this bloke's 18th man, he may get that call up into the Blue squad. So I think there's a little bit of danger there, and I might leave him out until 16. What I would do instead, I'd go probably Young to Fafita, and I'd probably change Reid Marnie to Cam Smith, because at the moment there's a few players who do play 16 that I don't have, like Fafitas and Cam Smiths and that I'm just sort of hoping to get in. It's just a matter of who you bring in when and whether you bring in the right person who goes large that week or doesn't. So, yeah.
That's solid, mate.
What do we got after trading floor? Oh, this week's SuperCoach Fortune Teller. Now, we've got to do this. I've got to do this on a whim, because I actually haven't prepared any. As you can see there, this is all going to be off the cuff. So I'm going to go Wade Graham to ton up. A couple of years ago in Canberra, I think he scored 2 years in a row. I think he scored hat tricks in Canberra. He absolutely loves going to the nation's capital. Loves playing against the Raiders. Looked absolutely awesome last week, setting up a few. I think his mind will be more on setting up tries. I think he even might have scored a hat trick there for this, the Kangaroos side one year as well.
Rings a bell. Definitely rings a bell.
Loves GIO Stadium. I'm going to tip him to ton up. I'm going to go with a straightforward redemption arc in Damien Cook. The fact that he scored 26 points last week absolutely blew me away. And I've got to be honest, I thought even if he had a bad game, he'd still rack up about 40 odd. So got pulled about 11 minutes from time after the game was gone. So I'm hoping he can bounce back. Wild and wacky. What do we got for wild and wacky? All right. Do you want to run through yours, mate? And I'll think of a wild and wacky. And then after we run through the teams, we'll announce exactly what we're doing with this cold challenge.
Yeah, so we've gone Shecky to ton up against the Titans. Could be an interesting one. I think Titans have been pretty good, but I think he's due. And yeah, he'll be looking to bounce back and try and get the Warriors season back on track. I've gone Esan Masters to bounce back. They're taking on the Cowboys, I think it is. I think Esan's just due, just like I went Croker last week. He's just due for a pie and, scores nearly 40 points in bays. So I see him bouncing back. He only got 37 or something last week. Wild and wacky. Let's go with... I have been thinking about this one. I'm thinking I'll go... Titans will... this is going to be a prick tough to calculate, but Titans will be the highest scoring team in SuperCoach points this round. All their players combined will have the highest amount of SuperCoach points scored out of any team this week.
I like it. Mate, I'm going to go with 11s and 12s. I'm going to go with, and I don't know who plays which position. Which one? Let's go. 11's generally the better player, isn't it? So let's go. I'm going to go with number 11's total points beat number 12's total points. Obviously, whoever starts in those positions. So if, let's say you have someone start from off the bench, it's a 15. They start in the number 12 spot, it's going to be them. So that'll be my wild and wacky for the week.
Hang on guys, a minute. How do you define what's the 11 or what's the 12? It's not necessarily left or right.
Teamless.
What if, okay, you're going to go...
I think it's pretty fucking
straightforward.
The
player listed at the 11th order. Yeah, the 11's still going to get on the field.
With the ABS, counting through 1 to 13 is pretty bloody simple.
Mate, I'm just making sure there's no grey area here. It's all about making sure
the
scope is clear.
Mate, fair enough. We'll we want to let the folks know exactly what we're playing for.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, guys, this is going to be the Ice Bucket, the Ice Bath Challenge. Now, obviously, we've told plenty of our viewers at home that I've moved from Canberra to the beautiful sunshine state of Queensland, even though I've always followed the Blues. I'm living up here in Brisbane. And the weather up here, even at this time of the year, look, T-shirt on, it's absolutely beautiful. 10 o'clock at night, and, not a cloud in the sky. But down in Canberra...
jumper on here, freezing fucking cold.
A little bit different. Hampton's absolutely freezing his bollocks off. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a different bet for each of us purely because of the climates that we live in. So we're going to go with Hampton doing the ice bucket challenge, big bucket of ice, and we're going to get him outside on his patio, and if he loses, he's going to have to dunk it basically straight on top of the head and then continue on with the show. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to fill an ice bath, and I'm going to do 10 minutes of footage inside the bath. And if I lose, I'm going to... And now this is a little bit controversial because I'm not too sure how the hot and cold will work, but I'll have these chippies by next week. If I do lose, I'll do the ice bath and I'll do the chips in the bath. So I'll be dead set I'm going to have a heart attack. If I actually, we've got to get the defibrillator here for me, because if I have a heart attack in this ice bath eating a fucking chili chip, Jesus, that'll be good YouTube footage. So that'll be the bet for next week, folks.
So we're on, Joshy. This is a lot on the line for this one now.
It is, mate. This is definite cold territory afterwards, mate. We might have to get our flu shots first before we do this.
Jump on us on Twitter at BJ on Game Day. We're on Facebook, BJ on Game Day, and we've also got the SuperCoach group code for everyone that wasn't able to get in the league. That one's growing each week. 701371. Get in there and compete with us on there as well.
We'll try and keep it a bit more active on obviously the social pages, guys. But we're both pretty slack at it. But we'll do our best and get better at those. The league last week, I think best week of the round. Best round of the week came from Big Ted, 1,190 points. So he went very well there. I think he's into the top 3,000 or 4,000 now. So trending upward. Hell's Grannies with Wayno and fucking Cowboys for Mark. So.
Some of the originals, mate.
All three of these
guys
from
round one,
from last
season
year.
one, rather. Bouncing back in a big way.
To the top.
Good to see.
Definitely.
What is it? Class form is temporary, class is permanent.
That's it, mate. That's it. Obviously, the Bunning Snags a sub 1,000 week this week, so he still holds on to that number one spot within the league. But is heading the wrong way overall. I think he's down to about 521 now after being a high of 36 overall. So a little bit disappointing there. And Blake with Rangers de Janeiro is actually within striking distance now. So Blakey unfortunately went with his first loss in the head-to-head last week, which we'll see a little bit later on. But only 62 points behind the Snags. So getting very tight at the top. And a few hundred points to double Denman with Stevie Woods. He had a bit of a slow week as well, like myself. Moving to the head-to-heads, and these are the week results from last week. Gangster Gargo's got me, so he moved to 5 and 6, while I slipped to 4 and 7. Marty got not the for and against booster that most people have got out of the threat, but still managed to get over him. Hell's Greenies gave the Bunning Snags another loss, so despite his overall position, we can see the absolute bullshit behind head-to-head as the Bunning Snags is 6 wins and 5 losses. Mate, as you can see there, Kano, he got you, 1,056 to 992. So, mate, probably sliding down the wrong end of the ladder we are in the head-to-head, mate.
Yeah, we're in trouble here, aren't we?
Mate, Big Ted got over his good mate Dan with the ginger, so managed to get over him by about 200 points. Leanne trending well, so she's still going quite well. 6 and 5 now, so she's charging up the leaderboard up to 9th, just outside the top 8. She beat PTKB. Fucking Cowboys beat Rangers de Janeiro, so well done to Mark. Finally knocked off Blakey. Yes, good to see a loss, Blakey. Mate, it's always nice to obviously cheer a winner, even better to cheer a loser. So, well done to Marky. The Tunnel Snakes managed to get over Brendo, Hampton, your mate. So, 953 to 909. What's a pot? Now, this was close. God. I actually watched this all weekend. And Trent would have mate, we would have made an episode special just for Trent if he had a fucking loss to the Bashers. And anyone who does this season, anyone who has a chance of losing to the Bashers will give you your own episode. All right. So very, very dangerous there from Trent. And checkmate. That's a good call there, Bogan. Big Ted playing him next. He's going to throw. Very nice. Checkmate. Beating Double Denman. So Mano getting over Stevie Woods there. Next week's games. Oh, actually, sorry. League ladder. And Big Ted managed to get that little bit close to Rangers. He'll be gunning for that minor premiership. 10 wins, 1 loss for Rangers. And Big Ted there in second. Wayne with Hell's Gretties in third. So a couple of the season 1 veterans performing quite well. This week's matchups, who we got? We got Gangsters Gagas up against Marty's team. Hell's Grannies. Oh, I reckon I'm up for a hiding here. I'm not playing well in the head-to-heads this year. As you can see, 4 and 7.
Hey, I got a 4 and against booster.
What's a 4 and against booster, and you'll lose. You watch, you'll lose.
I probably will lose.
He'll probably actually Stewie with the threat. He'll probably turn it on this week, and he'll put it aside.
Oh, the Bogan's got the threat in round 16.
Funny snack. What's that?
The Bogan's got the threat in round 16.
There you go. Beauty. He'll go down to him there. Fire and Ice with Leanne playing up against Kane Anderson with Dr. Kando. Over the page, Bogues, who we got? Mark and the fucking Cowboys. I can't see what we got.
Team on Big Ted, I think it is.
Okay, there we go.
That should be a classic game around that one.
Trent, what's a pod? He's going to get an absolute hiding based on last week against Rangers de Janeiro. Checkmate up against Brendo, and Stevie Woods gets the points differential booster from Brendan's bashes if he gets up. So there you go. From the Supercoach group code, and as you can see, there's 701371, guys. Anyone at home can join in. That's basically just anyone who sort of didn't make the league. Feel free to jump onto the group code. Anyone who didn't make the league, we're just going to give a shout out to whoever finished top last week, and that was Timmy at home with Big Ballers. So 1,061. I think in the whole group, actually, Big Teddy got the top as well with about 1,090. So well done to Timmy and the Big Ballers. No doubt that score would have actually pushed him up the ladder and got him a little bit higher, which is good. But, mate, that's about it for this week, isn't it?
I think so, mate. So, what, we got no footy next weekend, I think it is. Is it next weekend? Next weekend or the weekend after?
The rep round? Weekend after, I think. No. I got no idea. We'll figure it out.
What's it? Round...
We'll report on it next week.
Yeah, well, anyway, there's not many to go. Super Trade round coming up. So, gearing up, that should be a fun round. 5 trades to make there. But
huge trades.
There'll be trades all happening all over the shop. Trades becoming a bit of a premium now, but yeah, good luck on the weekend, everyone. And we will see you all next week.
Sounds good. Catch you guys.